The NFL after this pandemic. What will it look like? Before we start, I want you guys to hit that red subscribe button so that you never miss out on any of our videos. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to Big Hit Central. The NFL draft wrapped up this past weekend, and by all accounts, it was a whopping success, even with its social distancing configuration. A record number of sports-starved viewers tuned in for 3 days of teams drafting top prospects in college football. Well now, after all this excitement, we need a reality check. With the ongoing pandemic, will the NFL be able to start on time in, a little over 4 months? With that said, here's how the NFL will be after this pandemic. Number 1. General information. The season still could have a normal start date. We will find out more when the schedule is released, which is expected to happen later this week. Players report to the facility every day for practice, and testing could take place there as well. Whatever the NFL decides will be handled collectively, with all 32 teams following the same safety practices.
Most likely to be played simply because of the distance in time between when we first started socially distancing.
If games are played on time, the next question is who can attend. Playing games with no fans present is an option. In that case, pre-game and post-game festivities, game coverage, fantasy football, and merchandise purchases all could be sustained. The existing television contracts with the networks would be honored. National television provides roughly $200 million per franchise for the season and is the largest form of revenue. The broadcasts would have the same graphics, production values, and announcers with or without fans, although the lack of crowd noise in fan shots would have to be creatively addressed by the league's broadcast partners. Number 2. Fans or no fans. If there were no gate ticket receipts, it would signal an immense revenue hit for franchises. Owners probably would approach the NFLPA seeking some kind of relief from the obligations to pay players at the same contractually mandated figures, given the fact that a new collective bargaining agreement was finished unexpectedly earlier this offseason.
An agreement on a new collective bargaining agreement with the Players Association, but this is just the owner's side of it.
Without the heavy posturing and acrimony that past negotiations have engendered, perhaps that same spirit could yield a deal quickly. Games played without fans would create an eerie atmosphere in stadiums. Players are used to feeding off of the energy of fans, especially at home, and no one really knows how this would alter competitive balance and performance. Synergistic interplay between fans and players would be missing. Maybe there are ways for teams to feature some of their most loyal fans on the broadcast, as they did during the draft. Creativity and ingenuity will be welcomed if it brings back sports and camaraderie. From a competitive standpoint, the lack of crowd noise certainly would make life easier on an offense trying to overcome a difficult third down conversion on the road. It would be interesting to see if the resulting number of offside penalties would be reflected in the stat sheet. Now, what if there were a regulated amount of fans at these games? Perhaps spectators could be spread out in seat locations that maintain social distancing. This might mean that stadiums would sell only a fraction of their usual seating capacity, using scientific input to determine a safe number. Fans could have their temperatures checked as they entered the stadium. More antibacterial soap dispensers could be installed, disinfectant wipes and plastic gloves could be made more available. There could be a requirement for fans to wear masks. For the most part, Americans across the country have complied beautifully with state mandates and requests to stay home, so I'm sure they will comply with practices that allow them to safely attend their favorite sporting events. Could concessions and memorabilia be sold? Stadium staff could place 6-foot distance markings on the ground for concessionaires and perhaps open viewer stands, allowing fans to maneuver through concourses with more space. Number 3. NFL drafts. But the clock and the depressingly dysfunctional way this country has dealt with this crisis will catch up with everyone eventually. The draft may be happening on time, but it's also the first sign for the NFL that the outside world is creeping in around the edges. Originally set to be a massive production in Las Vegas, the draft will now be done virtually, which worked well for the WNBA's event on Friday. And while the regular season schedule will look standard when it's announced, the Washington Post reported last week that there are contingencies being built in for the possibility that the season will not start on time, or that games will go forward without fans, possibly at neutral, cordoned-off venues. As usual, the NFL is pretending that everything is fine, but the mask is starting to slip. This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen now because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.